jingle bells, Three Wise Radio.
Because that's what the first one was missing, was politics.
No, but that's where the problem is that Jurassic Park hasn't really had this before. It's escalation. Now we're trying...
New York wasn't escalation?
No, but it wasn't like... It was... That's something that's, like, plausible. They try and do it again, and a boat takes into New York. Like, it's one dinosaur, it's one thing. It's a whoopsie-daisy.
How do we expand upon that?
Now I think you're going to get to something where it's like, oh, the government is trying to decide are dinosaurs good or bad, or what right do we have to... I think you're getting to this point now where everything has to be a bigger thing than what it actually is, because, like, Park of Dinosaurs isn't going to work anymore because they're going to stop making the fucking park.
Yeah.
And this is something we joked about with the last movie, but at this point now... The military's involved, and now this movie's going to have to stand for something.
They're going to get out, and it's going to be a whole bunch of dinosaurs in, like, a big place, and then it's going to be like, well, because I think it was you that said this. It's like, do we nuke the town, or do we not nuke the town? What do we do? Because there's a bunch of dinosaurs there.
No, you don't even nuke the town. I mean, that's the other thing, is that dinosaurs aren't a big enough threat. Like, I'm sorry, like, dude, just tanks.
Just leave the island.
Tanks. Even if you bring them to, like,
New York,
Boston, you're like, oh man,
I'm questioning
New York
this
gets
person's
too much
judgment.
time. Oh man, there's 100 T-Rexes in Boston. What are we gonna do? Roll in 10 tanks and kill them. So like, you have to do something besides like dinosaurs versus humans. This is gonna be like a war of the planet of the dinosaurs. I'd watch, obviously, but they're gonna have to try and come up with some agenda, and that concerns me. Safe to say. Agreed.
All this, an office Christmas party, and weird Christmas TV shows on today's show. Welcome to Three Wise Radio Podcast, where we talk about movies, video games, comic books, TV, technology, the internet, and pretty much everything else media related. My name is Joe Greller. I am one of the three wise guys. Joining me as usual, the other two wise guys, Garrett Welker and Sam Pixley. Happy Christmas, everybody.
Happy Christmas, Ron.
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas. Or any other holiday that you celebrate, but I celebrate Christmas.
It's Happy Christmas.
Yeah.
It's
No,
Happy
this is not a Harry Potter, this is not a European... I think they say, is a Happy Christmas a thing in Europe, or is that just for Harry Potter?
I think it's just a Harry Potter thing.
Oh, shit, is that a Harry Potter thing?
Yeah.
Didn't even know it.
Happy Christmas, like, and why?
Is it really? That's
Yes.
really a Harry Potter thing?
Yes,
Which
it's
one
dumb.
is it in? Which one takes place around
I think
Christmas?
The fourth one does.
I think it's the first.
I just remember Pattinson
I think it's
dying.
the first or the second one that it first shows up in, because it's Ron saying it to Harry, and Ron doesn't understand.
Merry Christmas.
Although
He doesn't
in
understand
defense
Merry
of that,
Christmas.
Ron has been a notorious idiot throughout the entirety of the series, so he might just be wrong.
Also true.
Something to think about.
Yeah, very good possibility. Okay, so let's get into some headlines. You know what? Let's start with some DC news. Aquaman, this just broke apparently before we started recording, has reportedly cast Watchmen's Patrick Wilson as the villain Ocean Master.
Patrick Wilson.
Yay, he was
Owlman?
Owlman. The young
Oh,
one.
okay.
Sorry, Night Owl.
Yeah, you're right. We figured that out a couple casts ago. Night Owl, he had that sex scene in the plane.
It was a hot scene. Gotta leave the costumes on. It's hotter that way. That's what that scene was about. They left the masks on. Come on, guys.
Did they say that?
No, it's a big thing in the comics. They're like, no, leave the masks on because it's hotter this way. And he's an old... I think it's... Maybe I'm reaching about something that I don't know about, but I think he has trouble getting it up unless he's in his costume, because he feels really impotent about himself, but when he's Night Owl, he can get a boner.
He's like,
Look at how much justice I'm dispensing, baby.
All right, well, if anyone's wondering, this is actually his second character he'll be playing in the DC Extended Universe. He's already been in Batman vs. Superman, but his voice only. He was the voice of the President of the United States
interesting.
in Batman vs. Superman.
Nice.
And also, I didn't realize this, he was originally Ant-Man before Paul Rudd, and then he dropped out.
Oh, how about that? He's worked with James Wan before. I'm pretty sure that's why.
Insidious.
Yeah, The Conjuring. Or
Insidious.
No, The Conjuring.
No, Insidious.
Oh, Insidious? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's all.
I'm only for certain because there's a picture in front of me from him in Insidious Chapter 2,
Oh, well, then
and
there
I
you
don't
go.
think he's in both.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's a talent. I'd find it hard to find anyone that I think is going to be a physical match for Jason Momoa.
Yes.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
He's pretty busy right now.
Never being
But could
Black
you
Adam.
imagine?
But I think also you put the right armor on him. I mean, you saw in Watchmen, you put the armor on him, and he looked.
And that's the thing.
ripped
Isn't
anyway.
Ocean Master supposed to? Oh no, Ocean Master. I'm thinking Black Manta. Oh crap. Never mind. Yeah,
No.
he's got to be physically imposing. He can go to the gym.
Ocean Master wears a lot of armor, so you can make that look more muscular. I mean, they did it with Ben Affleck.
Speaking of the DC Extended Universe, with Justice League wrapping production, news just broke that the sequel is getting pushed back already. It will now get pushed back from a 2018 release date to a 2019, June 14th, 2019.
Did you hear why?
Because of the Batman film.
Did
that
you
they're
hear
sliding
really
in
why?
there. No, I didn't hear really
We're
why.
gonna see what Justice League does before they give Snyder the reins for Justice League 2.
Are you serious?
That's the rumor. Makes
Okay,
sense.
so that's the rumor, though.
Yeah, that's the. I mean, they're not gonna say that.
Well, they should. I mean, they're saying it's because they want to put out the Batman for 2017.
I don't blame them.
But I don't see how they're going to do that.
I think that's a
Because
two-bird
they haven't started to
situation.
be. They haven't even started doing anything yet, and that's that's in 3 weeks.
Yeah. When Batman's involved, I think they're willing to rush anything.
All right, you seem to be the most Sam. You seem to be the most yay on this DC Extended Universe train and Zack Snyder's train.
Yeah.
Would you give him Justice League 2 no matter what, based on what you've seen already?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, man, this is his vision. Like, I don't know how you're going to have an abrupt change, unless Justice League is just complete hot garbage. I'm pretty sure you're going to see, I still have faith in Snyder and what he's able to do, that I think you're going to see the changes that you want to see in Justice League. But I think those changes were going to be in store even before everybody was like, oh, man, Henry Cavill just pouts all the time. I think you're going to see that change, and he's going to be more high-spirited. So,
Yeah.
fuck off.
Only took him to die to do it. Speaking of DC,
Same segue 3 times.
yep. Just knock him out, man. Boom, boom, boom. NBC's Powerless, which takes place in the DC universe, will now have an even more tie-in to, I don't know, something. Anyway, premieres February 2nd. It's going to be tied in. People are going to be working for Wayne Enterprises. Woo!
Building gadgets that help protect
The
people
world.
on the ground from villains. Saying that's just more of an opportunity to have like a quirky tech guy who keeps making things that keep going crazy and physical humor.
Yep.
Also, then you can say, oh man, Bruce Wayne was in the other day. He seems like he hasn't gotten sleep in a week. Whoa. We're part of the universe. Yeah, that's pathetic. And that's what it is.
Good God.
I mean, that's what it is. For sure. Guarantee. You think that joke's not going to be thrown around in the first 2 episodes?
I hope not.
It will be.
That's a shame.
First 3 episodes.
No, 2. See, that could be the first 10 minutes. I actually kind of liked the idea of the insurance company.
I liked it a lot better, too. Yeah.
It seemed less desperate. This seems desperate.
Yes.
Was it
And you know Ben Affleck's never going to make an appearance, so there's no point.
No, absolutely not.
No.
So we're never going to see this Wayne.
Right. Because he's so sleepy from working nights.
From being a
Great.
Playboy.
You know what the real shame is that this can't be on the CW because it's a half-hour comedy. And ever since WB and CW merged, they've gotten rid of all their comedies. Or WB and UPN merged to form the CW.
Comedies
They
aren't
get rid of all
sexy
their
enough,
comedies.
Joe.
You can make a comedy sexy.
Not sexy enough, though. Not enough angst in a
Sex in
comedy.
the City was technically a comedy. It was
Wasn't
all
sexy
about
enough.
sex.
Wasn't angsty enough.
There you go.
I'm not touching either one of those. Into comic book news, R.L. Stein's long-revealed Marvel
Yes.
project has finally been told.
There goes
Beginning
my-
in March, R.L. Stein will be writing a 5-issue miniseries of Man-Thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So apparently he was given multiple heroes and multiple characters to choose from, but he's like, no.
I want this one.
I'm doing Man-Thing.
That was my peeking.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And now it's gone.
I
I think that's perfect for him.
I apologize.
No, it's fine. I'll just come up with something last minute like we do every week.
Great. I mean, I think it's great. I didn't realize apparently his first ambition was to be a comic book artist. So,
Interesting.
yeah. And have you seen the cover?
No. I'm going to look it
I
up.
believe it looks like a cover from a Goosebumps book.
It does. It looks exactly like a cover from a Goosebumps book. It is fantastic.
Yeah, no, I think it's great for all parties involved. I think it's a good decision
I
by
do worry
everybody.
about one thing. He says that his Man-Thing will be able to talk, and Man-Thing's never been able to talk before. But his Man-Thing will be very sarcastic, so I'm scared we may get another Deadpool. because as he wrote, he hopes to blend a touch of comedy into his horror, which is what he does, though, in a lot of his Goosebump books. But
I'm praying that, like,
a wisecracking lead character is basically Deadpool.
I'm praying that page 8 is like, if Man-Thing goes into the swamp, go to page 11. If Man-Thing decides to go back home into the other swamp, go to page 14.
A build your own comic
Yes,
book story.
choose your own story.
that'd be
Oh,
great.
yeah.
I could see them doing that, like, after these 5 issues, like, doing a giant size one as
Oh,
an
hell
annual.
yeah. And if you turn the first page, and it's, what is it? What was the saying? Readers beware, or choose your
Yeah.
own scare or something. Yeah.
I'd be all about
That'd
it.
be cool. But you can't do that with, like, a 24-page comic.
No.
But this will be released in March, the same exact time Marvel will release the new X-Men Resurrection.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Do you know what that's about? Because I don't.
DMX is in it, I think.
Great.
Joe sold. No, there was so there's the
Oh, it's the X-23 as all new Wolverine.
no there so there's a whole arc going on right now. I don't remember what it's called. Between it's another Inhumans versus X-Men fight, and like a lot of the X-Men are getting wiped out right now
Right, because Fox owns them.
because
Yeah.
but with this resurrection, some people who are already dead before this are supposed to be getting brought back. I haven't really
That's
read
nothing new in this.
I know, and it's
universe.
nothing new with the X-Men. It's nothing new with Marvel or comic books in general. But like,
And that's what X-Men is suffering in the comic books from what I like to call the True Blood serum, even though they've been doing it before then. They don't have the guts, and there's such an expanded universe on their own with so
Yeah.
many characters that when they kill off a character, they don't leave them dead.
Wolverine's still dead.
Yeah.
He's still dead. I'm shocked he's not back yet. Shocked.
original Wolverine's dead.
Only
Right.
Logan's in it. I mean, that's,
Logan's in the main
that's a
continuity
mistake.
now.
Cyclops was gone for 3 pages.
Ooh.
He died for 3 pages.
But I mean, how many times has
He's
Professor
like-
X been gone
he's
and
like-
come back?
I mean, Cyclops.
That's comic books though.
Cyclops
I'm still-
is mega dead now.
But he's not dead. No, he's alive. Yeah. Oh, are you talking about the Cyclops that was killed in the Terrigen Mist when Black Bolt destroyed him?
I'm talking. Yeah, he's
Oh,
Is that one dead?
that was a.
psychic projection, but the other one died from the Terrigen Mist.
Did he?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
yeah. I don't know.
That kept
Last
getting-
I heard, he was dead.
Maybe he's dead. Who knows? But that's comics.
Yeah.
That's comics.
You know how when we talk about movies a lot on this
No.
podcast, and we always say we're the most frustrated when something has so much potential, but then just seems like it just flounders away.
Yes.
Yes.
That is the X-Men story to me. From start to finish, always. X-Men story to me has so much potential, but one, it never has that linear timeline that like Spider-Man and sometimes the Avengers have. It just has so much potential, and it always just gets thrown by the wayside.
Yeah.
And
No,
it
I
gets
think
so
they-
convoluted on its own titles.
I think they did it. They just killed the universe that they did it right in.
Oh, Ultimate?
Ultimate X-Men post Cataclysm or post
Yeah, Cataclysm.
Cataclysm. No, not Cataclysm, is it?
Ultimatum.
Ultimatum was great.
You're right.
I thought that rebirth was really strong. They brought back a couple key characters. They brought back a Wolverine that was essentially Wolverine but not Wolverine in James Howlett. You gotta have a Wolverine. Sorry. Law of the
No.
land. I didn't write the rules. I just follow them. No, I thought that was really strong. And they
You're
still
right.
covered things that were... And again, it was getting back to that X-Men, like, we're freaks. Like, nobody likes us. It got back to that and said, like, well, both ideas that both of our two main people, Xavier and Magneto, thought would work, neither of them worked. What are we going to do now?
Yep.
Who are we? What are we going to become? People still hate us. What do we do from here?
Yeah.
Those stories were incredibly compelling. And then they just ate that whole universe. So Miles Morales could be in the regular. Cool story.
Actually, I recommend it. It is a cool story. All of the Ultimate lineup, for
Yeah,
the most part, is a
super
cool
great,
story.
start to finish.
First 2 volumes of the Avengers, not so much the third. Third one's pretty bad.
I mean, it got rid of Reed Richards, so we can.
Oh, no, it
No,
did.
he's back.
Oh, no. He
No,
came
he
back
was
as a
there till the
villain.
end. His head was real big.
God.
He
Actually,
essentially had a
his-
xenomorph head.
His first arc was really good, and then they kind of created a Dark Avengers, and it was actually really good. It was really good for a long time. I would say the third reboot, we'll call it, in the Ultimate Universe was the one that failed. And
As
that's why
usual, I
they
think
kinda
we've said this
merged.
before, but if you want to get into reading comics and you want just a good, easy, solid slice of the pie, just start reading
The Ultimate
The Ultimate Universe. It's going to be a little funky, but just start reading it.
Exactly. Go from the beginning, Spider-Man. I even recommend Fantastic Four. Spider-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four, Avengers, and go all the way to Ultimatum. And then,
you'll be comfortable the whole time.
yeah, pretty much until Cataclysm. And then after Cataclysm is a good jumping off point. Anyway, keeping in Marvel, but moving on into some Marvel movie news. With Spider-Man Homecoming still a few months away before hitting theaters, they have now just released a release date for Spider-Man Homecoming 2 is the holding place title.
That won't be the name.
It'll be released on good July 5th, 2019. A date that was originally occupied by Bad Boys 4.
Oh, what?
Which has been moved up to May 24th, 2019.
Bad Boys 3 hasn't even been anything yet.
Correct.
Michael Bay said in an interview for Transformers, it was like he let people on set. And there's actually a really interesting article. I have no idea who wrote it or where it's from. Garrett, I'm just pointing at my computer screen for emphasis for you, not for the general public. He had a really interesting, they let people on set, and they're like, because Michael Bay is apparently a notorious hard ass on his actors. Like, he pushes them hard and things like that. But they're like, he was a super nice guy. Like, everybody, it was like kind of a love-hate relationship. Like, everybody respected him but knew what was coming. Like, they knew, like, okay, this is going to be a pretty serious grind. But he also said, like, he wishes Bad Boys 3 was going to get made, but he feels like it will never get made.
By the way, Bad Boys 3's tentative release date is January 12th, 2018. So.
Yep. Release dates.
Okay, with that, speaking of Spider-Man Homecoming, there was a brand new trailer that came out this week.
Oh, yeah, there was.
So let's go into a little bit of trailer trash talk.
Yeah, buddy.
I don't have an intro for this. Maybe I will by the time.
Trailer
It's
trash
trailer
talk.
trash. We're going to talk about it now because that's the thing we do.
I might come up with a better one by the time this cast comes out.
I hope so. It would be hard to come up with worse. Trailer trash. We're going to talk about it now because that's the thing we do.
Sam, what are the trailers that we're going to be talking about this week?
Well, I mean, we're transitioning right into Spider-Man, so let's talk about it. Thoughts? I'm going to be...
Debbie Downer.
have some different opinions than I think you guys are on a lot of these.
I really enjoyed it. There was some little nitpicky things that I was noticing, but I mean that was me. But what about you, Joe?
I actually really liked it from start to finish. The opening's a little gimmicky with them wearing Avengers masks. Like,
It fit, though.
You're right, but that's the thing. It fit. The rest of it seemed okay to me. Like, you're gonna have... Is your problem the Tony Stark and Happy Hogan, like, being involved in it? Because
Yeah, fuck that.
we did know this already, though. This isn't like something that's being revealed
Yeah, but
to
he
you
was
in
prominent
the trailer.
in the trailer.
Yes.
Prominent.
Yes, and he should be.
No.
He is the central figurehead of your entire universe.
No.
You're going to milk him for all he's worth.
No, that's not what should be. That's the way to make money. That's not what it should be. That's what it... from an economic standpoint, sure. But from a story standpoint, no.
I don't think he will be as much.
The day this trailer dropped, Sam texted me. He's like, "Oh, do you see this?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "How do you feel about Tony Stark being Spider-Man's tech guy?" I was like, "That shouldn't be a thing."
Hey, I made you this suit. Hey, I made all this stuff for you. Good luck.
But that's in the comics, too.
No.
Yes, it is. It's right around Civil War. He makes him a suit. He makes him new web shooters. He makes him everything.
Right. He makes
And
him
we
that. He makes him that suit that he sabotages him with.
But you're
to
not...
say right off the bat, this is his suit. Like, oh hey, Peter, I saw you were wearing a hoodie. Here's a suit. Here's your Spider-Man suit.
I'm okay with someone giving him a suit. He made his own web shooters, which to me is the ingenuity of Peter Parker. Peter Parker's not a Betsy Ross type person where he's supposed to be sewing. That's the best thing I love about the Ultimate Universe. He doesn't make his suit in the Ultimate Universe, as we were just talking about. He gets it from the wrestling, and every time it tears, he has to keep going back to Mary Jane to have him keep making it. And at one point, they're broken up, and he's like, "You know who I am. You saw it, got wrecked. I kind of need another one." And it's just this awkward conversation of him being like, please. And he wears a hoodie for like an entire arc because of it, because he doesn't have his normal costume. So I'm okay with someone else providing him the suit.
I would want to see more of his normal suit beforehand. Look, okay, here's my issue. And we all... I'll get my three key points that I want to put out. I would have liked if they had one of the Tony Stark scenes in, and then at the very beginning, and it was him like letting him out the door, and he's like, "Hey, do what you got to do, but like, don't bother us. You're small league. I made this so that hopefully you don't kill yourself. Get out of the car." That would have been fine, because again, Spider-Man is at his best when the Avengers fly overhead, and he's like, "Hey guys, do you need me?" Oh no, okay, all right, see ya. Like, that's the best. The helicarrier flies over, and he's like, "Guess I'm going to stop these robbers from killing these people." That's where he's at his best. That was the only thing that I really had a problem with this trailer. I loved kind of introducing the Ultimate Spider-Man, the Miles Morales having Genki as his like buddy. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really nice. Good. It's going to be some good comedic relief. And I thought that Michael Keaton's Vulture costume looked super dope.
Michael Keaton looked very scary.
He looked awesome. I think his costume looks cool. And I think if this takes place during Civil War...
Really?
I'm on board with it. Because that's why the Vulture is a thing that like nobody's handling. That it is a kind of a low-level thing, and Tony's like, "Yes, yeah, so one of us will handle the Vulture guy eventually. Don't worry about it. We got bigger things going on."
But then when is he meeting? So it's after the airplane fight, but no, because it goes immediately to Russia. So when during Civil War would it take place?
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe like right after.
Yeah, this is
right
this
after
like
would make
immediately
sense.
afterwards.
Right after would make immediately after would make sense, because it's like they're broken up. Someone
and there's
will
a
take care of
reason
them.
why nobody's handling it. Yeah. Then that's fine. Yeah, maybe right during would be impossible, but an overuse of Tony Stark, which is the exact thing that I didn't want to see.
I think you may get a Joker thing from this. He's going to be featured way more in the trailer than he will be in the movie.
Here's hoping. I hope I don't see any more of him. Well, and especially in that last scene when there's the shot of him swinging and Iron Man flying with him. Like, no.
You say no, but Spider-Man's most prominent stuff is team-ups.
Yes, and the only person I don't want to see him team up with is Iron Man, is Tony Stark.
Why?
Because I'd rather see him with other people. I'm sick of Tony Stark. I don't care. The next character we got, Benedict Cumberbatch, who's going to essentially be probably taking over the role, is already Junior Tony Stark. But I don't need him. I don't care about him anymore. I'm done with him. It doesn't matter until I see a movie that I want to see a compelling movie about him and Captain America kind of mending fences or something like that. I don't need more Tony Stark being cocky cool guy that's kind of aloof and like, this isn't that big of a deal. Like, I'm done with that.
See, the only one that was bothersome to me was Avengers 2. Other than that, he's been okay. I thought they treated him well in Civil War. I thought he was fine. He didn't steal the screen time, and it still at the very end was a Captain America movie. But he's a very prominent role in this universe, and comic books are handled that way.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm over it.
That's okay. What other trailers do we have on the docket?
Oh, let's see. Let's switch something up. We'll do a comedy. Baywatch. Oh. This looked amazing.
Okay, before we go into this, has anyone actually ever sat down and watched an episode of the original series or any of its spin-offs?
Yes, but not that I remember. I was quite young whenever that show was out. So
because I remember Baywatch as being that thing that came on at like 11 o'clock at night, and you weren't sure if it was bad or not to watch it when I was real young. And you just knew like your parents' friends watched this show, and I'm like, what is this show? And then you turn on, it's like, oh, maybe I was already jaded at like 5, but I was like, this isn't bad. Like I never quite comprehended the risque behind it.
Yeah.
There's a good nod to the slow running. Yeah. Other than that, it looks like a 21 Jump Street
That's
kind of thing.
exactly what it is.
And
because there's no movie there.
I'm okay with it though.
Yep.
Like what we saw looked great.
Yep. It is without a doubt 21 Jump Street. That's all it is. I knew it the second that what's his name pulled up and was like, City Council's cutting our budget. We got to restore the Baywatch brand. I was like, man, you're not even trying.
So forget your like 23 MIB 23. You want your team up? Is this Sony or not?
I don't know.
Ooh, I see where you're going with this.
But you want your team up? This is what you do. I would totally be on board for something like that after a couple Baywatch movies. 100%.
This whole
21 Baywatch? Are you kidding me? Like that makes our Baywatch Jump Street like that's your movie.
Yes.
That's your Fast Five combining the families. Like, what are you doing with Men in Black? Like, this is what you need.
This whole movie is so stupid.
It's gonna be great.
It's as someone, everybody else gets movies about, everybody's been a waiter or a waitress, and we get movies about people that are in that industry all the time. As somebody that's worked in the lifeguarding industry since I was 15 years old. The second Dwayne The Rock Johnson was like, we go above and beyond, and he dives into the flames. Nope. Nope. First step.
So you tell me
Joe, first step in handling a crisis, survey the scene. If the scene is unsafe, you do not go.
So you would let the person burn to death?
In a giant boat fire? Yeah.
You don't sound like a very good lifeguard.
I'm not Baywatch.
Okay.
But the scene with Zac Efron, the scene at the end that basically summed the whole thing while Zac Efron was like, we were in lifeguard pursuit. That's not a fucking thing. That line was fantastic. I'm super into this.
I'm just saying, if you could have a movie with the talent, Efron, and The Rock, tell me you don't want that.
Oh, it would sell millions. Billions.
Yes. Based on us just going, I think, by ourselves alone.
It would essentially be the relationship of Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell from The Other Guys with Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Sam Jackson, but in a movie. I would think, and I don't know which team would be the cocky team. I would think Baywatch, but I'm not sure.
Oh my God. All right, what's next on the thing? I'm going to update us, but keep going.
I'm completely on board for that. Let's do... I'm trying to avoid one because did anybody watch the Transformers trailer?
Yes.
I did not.
Thoughts on Transformers trailer? Last Night, I think it's called.
Yeah.
I heard Anthony Hopkins talking. I was like, dang, I really want to go watch Westworld.
I'm interested more than I was for Transformers 4, but it's still kind of like early. There's not a lot for me to get excited about.
Yeah. This is the first in probably 2 trailers that I was curious as to what was going on. Mm-hmm. And it was good to see Mark Wahlberg and what's his name? Josh Duhamel.
Yeah.
Josh Duhamel. It's good to see him again.
Mr. Fergie.
Yes. I'm excited about it. I don't know how they're going to incorporate King Arthur as well as Nazi Germany, but apparently they are. So, and it looks like either Optimus is a bad guy or he's been brainwashed or something, robo-brainwashed.
Baywatch is Paramount. Paramount and Sony. Sony, you're good with making deals with other people. My plea to you is combine these
21
two things.
Baywatch.
Yes. Continue.
Boy.
Sorry.
No, you threw me off.
Transformers.
Yeah, I'm interested, but it's probably out of the trailers that have come out in the last week or so, I'm probably the least interested in that one.
Same. I would agree with that.
Just because everything else has looked really good. Also coming up, Fate of the Furious. What did we think?
First off, when he told me that title earlier, I thought he was joking.
No.
It's super clever.
Do you know why it's called Fate of the Furious?
Fate of the Furious. Tell me, Joe.
It's F and then an 8. Fate. You could put 2 little on fire wheels and it just have F8.
I am split on this trailer. There is part of me that absolutely loves this trailer. First off, as I sent that text to you guys, I meant that. The I'm going to beat your ass like a Cherokee drum line.
Pretty good.
Just in that trailer, I lost it. I'm on the subway laughing, listening to this, and people are probably looking at me like I'm an idiot. But that was one of the best lines ever. Secondly, I hate the fact that the plot point is Dominic Toretto goes bad because we know Vin Diesel as a human being, and he's not bad. I don't know him as a human being, but we know that he's not going to let Dominic Toretto be the villain of the story. So it's like we already know the quote-unquote plot twist going in.
Die at the end of F8. He's gonna die at the end of F8 with going out with love for his family. This whole movie.
You think they're gonna make another? Because he said they're going to 10. You think they're gonna make 9 and 10 without him?
I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh yeah, no. He said they're doing 10 and it's final.
All right.
10 will be the end of the saga.
Well,
this is the start of a final chapter in the saga.
Well, shit. Never mind. That throws a whole wrench in my theory. Never mind.
But by the same token, I was done with Fast and Furious after the 7th one. This trailer brought me back.
I
hated the 7th one. I'm sorry. Paul Walker dying threw a huge monkey wrench in that story to where it just became a video game.
Yeah. I confessed, Sam, I have not watched a Fast movie since Tokyo Drift.
You ended on a high note.
No, you did. 5's the best one.
Tokyo Drift is top 10.
Gaijin.
I believe it's top 10 because there's only now going to be 8 of them. 5 is the best one by far. Everyone will agree.
Still haven't watched it.
Which will tie into our next segment, Office Christmas Party.
Words.
Because did anyone else lose it at the beginning when they talked about the Fast and Furious movies?
It was pretty good.
I loved it.
I was already kind of turned off.
All right.
Fast 8, I don't care. Like, I'm over it. Like,
Fast and Furious?
yeah. Like, there was cool stuff, but, like,
I think we flip-flopped in the last 6 months.
maybe. I mean, it's just nothing in that trailer was exciting or like, oh, there's a wrecking ball. And everybody's shocked that they have a wrecking ball. Oh, there's a submarine. And everybody's shocked that there's a submarine. Like, at some point, Tyrese isn't going to yell, oh, shit. Like, his character is at some point going to be like, yeah, this is what we do.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you guys didn't tell me about the wrecking ball? No, Tyrese, just like we didn't tell you about the forklift last week. Like, nothing was surprising. I didn't care. Like you said, you know he's not going to be the bad guy. I'm pretty sure it's in his contract that he's the good guy and he always wins. It's just like, I don't give a shit about family anymore. Like, oh, are you really going to betray family? Did you ever think you would betray family?
Well, you're going to betray them.
Can you imagine a world where you're never going to buy your family Coronas again? Like, who cares? I'm so much more excited for Return of Xander Cage than I am with this.
I am not.
Because at least that's different. There was nothing about this trailer that seemed unique. It's the same recycled stuff over and over again, even with Vin Diesel being the bad guy, except for some reason, because he's Vin Diesel, his car is able to outpower 4 cars.
5 cars.
5 cars. But at least with Xander Cage, like, you get lines that you didn't have. Like, no lines in Fast and Furious are interesting anymore. When you get a line in the Xander Cage show, it's like, there's only rebels and tyrants now. And which one are you? I'm Triple X. Like, that's at least something you're like, okay, cool. Yeah, you are. Put on your fur coat and walk on out of here. At least it's different and there might be something unique, even though it's the exact same shit as Furious. But, I don't know, I'm just ready for a change.
You're not going to get it.
Yeah, I am, because I'm going to watch Xander.
Well, okay, from that standpoint, sure. But, I mean, it's no different than watching Bones for a 12th season where...
Yeah, that's why I tuckered out. I know it sucks.
Or watching the 700th
I'm gonna see
incarnation of Doctor Who. Oh, he's a weird British man, and he'll be a weird
there
British
comes
man
a
the
point.
next time.
I watched this trailer, and this is
12.
the first Fast and Furious trailer that I've watched that I just was like, when the submarine came up, I was like, yeah.
Just mentally checked
But when
out.
Xander Cage jumped out of that space airplane and like flew at the screen,
The worst looking CGI
yes,
I've
correct.
seen in a long time.
That got me excited.
You need priority, sir.
Charlize Theron's hair also looked yucky. The only other one was Planet of the Apes.
Oh, yeah, crap. Let's talk about that. We're running so long.
Real
Yeah,
quick.
we talked about all these shitty movies. This movie looks real classy, real awesome. Can we all just agree on that movie?
Yes,
Yes.
I liked everything until Woody Harrelson said the title of the movie in the trailer.
This will be a planet.
A war for the planet.
No,
of the
no,
he
he
said
said this will be a
This
planet
is turning into a planet of apes.
apes. A planet of apes.
Yeah.
So they
I'm pretty sure he said war.
No, I just watched it before you got
Okay.
here.
if we lose this war or something, this
Okay,
will be
yeah, okay.
a planet ... of apes. I think maybe he misread his lines. Fudged
Other
it.
than that, though,
Looked
it's
awesome.
it's a Planet of the
Looks
Apes
so
movie. I'm super
good.
on board. I've always been on board with Planet of the Apes ever since the old Roddy McDowell movies. So
Yeah, it looks solid.
can't wait for that one.
Yeah.
No, you can't have a Three Wise radio. You'll shoot your eye out.
You know Dasher and Prancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen. But do you recall the most famous reindeer of all? Come on! Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose. And if you ever saw him, you would even say it close. Come on!
I'm sorry, you're having a Christmas party tonight? It's not happening.
All right, it's canceled.
Hey, idiot, I'm looking right at you.
I'm telling you, the thing is not happening at all.
I'm not messing with you. Hey, stop doing that, all right?
If you are going to have intercourse tonight, please do not do it on company property. Go into the Rite Aid parking lot.
We talking Rite Aid, baby, make it all night. Oh, pardon me.
But as we said just a few moments ago, this week's review, keeping in with tradition on this podcast of the 2-year Christmas tradition that we now have, and hopefully for many more years to come,
Time honored.
watching a ridiculously new Christmas movie out in theaters and then reviewing it for you all to see and determining whether or not it is an instant classic Christmas movie or one that just goes by the wayside. I think last year we determined that The Night Before was an instant classic.
I forgot we were doing this segment.
Did you go see the movie?
I saw it. I just forgot we were doing this part. I was like, what is he talking about? We've never reviewed TV show episodes before.
No, that's still to come. So keep listening for that. But no, Office Christmas Party. We decided, I think, The Night Before was an instant classic thanks to Michael Shannon.
Yeah. Has anybody watched it since? Me neither.
Neither have I.
Perfect.
But I still remember. I'm like, it's okay. If it was on, I think I'd watch it. If
But
it was
it's
on
not.
Netflix, I'm not going out of my way. Anyway, Office Christmas Party, starring Jason Bateman, Olivia Munn, T.J. Miller, Jennifer Aniston, Kate McKinnon,
Rob Corddry.
Rob Corddry, you're right.
Jamie Chung, give her respect.
Yeah, she's barely in it, though.
Yeah, but she showed cleavage.
Well,
It was the emphasis of the first 5 minutes of the movie.
True.
touche.
So there you go.
So I was telling Sam, Garrett, there are 2 ways I want to attack this film.
You did not tell me this.
Yes, I did. I told you this morning before I left.
You did not.
There is
Tell us now.
whether or not we enjoyed it.
Okay.
And since this takes place in Chicago, and it's a very prominent Chicago,
Very.
you could tell, like, living from being here in Chicago, you can tell every little piece, like, this is this area.
Yeah.
This is this area.
Do you want to do the Chicago part really quick? Because there's just
No.
one thing that's stressing me out about it.
I guess we could go as we go along because I want to point out all the ways that this film could not happen.
How the fuck
in
does
Chicago.
anybody in New York City watch movies?
Right?
Because every movie's in New York. And this whole time, I was watching the Chicago stuff, and I was like, nah. The L train you just got off said not in service.
Right, I saw that too!
It's because you were filming. Fuck you.
I saw that too.
But it just completely threw me off the whole time, even though it shouldn't have.
You know the first film to do that to me?
League of Their Own.
Dude, see, that's the thing.
Gone Girl. When
That's
he's making out in the alleyway, it's right across from your old TV station you used to work for.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's not New York. That's clearly an alleyway, sadly, in Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
No,
It's just shitty.
See, when I went to go see this, I went by myself. I was surrounded by a bunch of middle-aged or older
Nice.
Chicagoan ladies.
Nice.
And the whole time, especially for that whole intro montage thing of him going to work sort of thing, it's like, oh, look at that! Everybody around me was like, oh, that's that place and that's that place. I was like, I know it's in Chicago now. I get it. I didn't know it was in Chicago
Neither
until
did I.
this movie. Until I got to the theater, and then I was like, oh, this is Chicago.
Joe spoiled it for me this morning.
But then
I'm sorry you didn't have that 5 seconds of
I didn't
bliss.
hear enough of it. It was just everyone around me was just chittering to each other. It was like, I get it. It's in Chicago. You know where this is at. Fuck off. Let me watch the movie. I turned really bitter really quick.
See, it's the exact opposite because I saw a late night showing of it. Was barely anyone in the theater. I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah?
My biggest problem with it was only from living here, I can point out every flaw as to why these would not happen in real life.
Well, you could do that with any party movie.
But I don't live where Project X was done or where all the many other party movies that we talked about back in issue number 12, go listen to it, was, mentioned. I've never been to the campus where Animal House takes place, so I don't know.
Well, are you going to be able to pull yourself out of the situation and give an honest review?
Yes.
Okay. Do that now.
Okay. So Office Christmas Party is basically about this web server, correct?
Server company, yeah.
Web server company that is co-owned to a certain extent by T.J. Miller and Jennifer Aniston, who are brother and sister.
Their dad owns the entire corporation.
Has recently died.
T.J. Miller was given the branch while Jennifer Aniston was made CEO of the entire company interim.
Yes.
Yep.
And Jason Bateman is the lead IT person?
He's basically
tech person?
the
He's
assistant.
he's
the assistant
basically the assistant manager, but he corrals everybody, especially in the tech division, which is apparently just Olivia Munn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And then pretty much Jennifer Aniston comes by and says she's closing this Chicago branch.
Got to make that money.
Which was her father's branch. And TJ Miller wants to keep all of the employees employed, keep them happy, and they cancel the office Christmas party, but then decide to throw it back on when they have a potential client who can save...
It's got a $14 million account.
Yes, who can save the company or that branch if they get his account.
Yeah. It's essentially Jennifer Aniston and TJ Miller, the Van Stones, Carol and Clay, two sides of a coin. Oh, if only they were more alike. She's the tough as nails, never had a fun upbringing. Kid, bitter, jealous of her brother who always got away with stuff and was a party animal. Gosh, if only they both were able to work together, what magic could happen?
I mean, that's okay. I was going to nitpick at the thing of like, you could never, like, there would have been more than one person on security in the office building.
She was the highlight
of downtown.
I loved her.
She was great. Yeah, she's great. But there would have been like 3 or 4 guards at least.
No.
Yes.
I actually was just in that building like 3 weeks ago. There's only 2 people at that front desk.
At the front desk, there's more people in that building going floor to floor than at the front desk.
Yeah, probably.
There's more than just one person overnight. By the time it gets crowded in that hall, in that foyer, the police would have been called. They would have never made it up to that floor because on most of these things, there's key cards that you need to swipe to get to a certain floor, especially after 5 p.m.
Unless
the
security guards were invited.
Well,
how do you invite inanimate objects?
Security guard.
I meant cards.
I said guard.
Okay, so the one person would have to be standing in the elevator the entire time swiping them up. Because it's a card, you have a key fob that lets you get to floors. So there would only be one operating elevator to this floor that the security guard would literally have to be swiping everyone up in.
Okay, and I think that's maybe where I was getting pulled out of this movie. There's so many, because this was set in like a real place that I was familiar with, it made it very hard for me to believe all these silly things that were going on. It's like, that would not have happened. You would have died. That would not have made it to fruition. But
I mean, that didn't bother me at all. I mean, I think especially with party movies, like, you have to give it a certain amount of leeway, saying like, yeah, of course this stuff was going to happen. I mean, cops would have been called. Stuff was flying out of windows. There were fires going on. Like, there would have been a noise complaint. There would have been something. I think with that stuff, you kind of just have to give it like the, oh, okay. Like, I mean, it's gonna happen. It's a giant rager party movie. That is what it is. So that didn't throw me off too much. I found it interesting that there was a giant snowstorm that stopped all the flights at the airport from traveling, but it wasn't really ever snowing the entirety of it. There was snow on the ground, but there was no storm.
Right.
True.
Whatsoever. that part, I was like, when Jennifer Aniston was like, there's no snow, I can't take off. Okay, I'm going to walk back to the office. All right.
There's that. There's the fact that bridge that they're trying to jump only goes up like 8 times a year.
Does it really?
Yes. It only goes up during certain points because the Chicago River's not really used for transporting barges anymore.
Yeah.
So there's only like 8 times that goes up.
Interesting.
And they made it seem like an everyday occurrence. Like, this is what I was talking about. Like, the Loop is one of the most like well-policed areas in Chicago, maybe the most well-policed area. So the fact that someone could be cruising at like 90 and 80 miles an hour and just like all this destruction that happens. And then eventually once they would check into the hospital, there was no repercussion or anything. Or just the damage done to the building. Forget that at the end of the movie, this app saves your company or whatever. There isn't the damage you cost to the building, because when you are a company in one of those buildings downtown, you don't own that building. You're renting those floors in that building. So the amount of money you have to pay that building to repair your floors and lobby and everything else would still leave you broke.
No, it wouldn't, because the app that you just invented, they changed the entire world.
No, it would leave them broke because they would not remain a company long enough to be able to put that out to market it.
Sure, that branch. No, they could put that branch
that
on
company.
No,
that branch. Sure,
you changed the entire. At the end of this movie, Olivia Munn in 15 minutes changes the entire world.
You have to explain to me how that app though is different than like 4G LTE.
Because there's no network. There's never any like, oh, I'm in a bad network. There's no anything
service here.
Unless you're at the bottom of the world where there is nothing.
So the core, where it's
yes. But even if you were going toward the core of the earth, if you were in a giant shuttle, you'd be fine because there's electricity there, thus internet. That app would mean that anything that has any kind of power provides you internet. That changes everything.
Okay.
But they're like, oh, we did it.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus Christ. Now we're going to go get hammered. Like, do you realize what you've done? This isn't like a thing where, oh, we saved the company. It's like, nah, we just moved the human race up a notch in terms of connectivity.
See, that part was
I didn't even
lost on
think
me.
about that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Damn.
That's what it makes sense. They're like, oh, we used electric currents, so now light bulbs
I
give
would
you
be more on the
internet.
thing that your stock's still going to go down because you destroyed a lot of property and everything else. So
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
You could say that, be like, yeah, we did that, but we figured out how to give light bulbs internet.
that still would take more time to prove that you've done it in test markets and everything else.
You did it. They gave all of Chicago it because they crashed a car into a boathouse that had the servers for all of the internet in Chicago. Remember that part?
Yeah.
Oh, no, we hit the boathouse. What was in the boathouse? The internet, son of a bitch. Quick, let's corral all the equipment we have in the office. Is that snowstorm over? Oh, it never happened. Great. We did it. We got the internet.
Okay, we're running long on this too. What are we giving this?
I mean, I bet there were funny moments. I enjoyed it. I thought that the romance, like the Jason Bateman Olivia Munn romance, was probably one of the worst like office party or like thing romances that I've seen. But I can see how it would be funny for some people. I would give it what are we giving out of 5 stars? I would give it for other people 3 out of 5 stars. For myself, 1.5. I just could not get past the unoriginality of all of the cast.
Personally, I'd probably give this movie like a 2.5.
Out of 10.
Oh, out of 10? No.
I was just trying to steal it.
No, out of 5. I don't know. I just really couldn't get into this movie.
That's fine. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. I think if you are working in an office building in Chicago, downtown, you're really gonna love it. And I think if you like these type of characters, you're really gonna like the movie too. So that's my personal opinion.
All right.
Coming up, the weirdest, best, and strange Christmas TV episode themes of all time.
All right, I've got my list of all the good little boys and girls. I've checked it twice. Time to check it thrice. Three Wise Radio, you have not been very nice.
But since it is Christmas season and last year we took a look at Christmas movies, we thought it'd only be appropriate that we take a look at Christmas TV shows. So does that mean next year we'll take a look at Christmas video games? On the Christmas video games?
There are none.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe that will be our topic. Create our own Christmas video game, and why aren't there Christmas video games? Anywho, we have this kind of split thing on Christmas TV shows to where some are over the top, too bearing, just too much. It's too much of the feels and too much of sappiness. And then there are these other kind that are kind of nice and kind of magical. But I'll propose this question to you first because I'm a firm believer in I can't watch this. So when you're binge watching a show and the Christmas episode comes up for that show, does it bother you at all if you're like watching that in like a June or a July or even like a March setting to where you're like, Christmas is nowhere near right now and this is just a little awkward for me? Because for me it is.
No, definitely.
Just reminds me of how lonely I am over the holidays, not having someone to love.
Jesus, Sam.
Gone real dark with that. But every just about TV show ever has done a Christmas episode. Alfred Hitchcock Presents has had a Christmas episode. All the CSIs have had a Christmas episode, even Magnum P.I. And we could even go back to like Westerns of like Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, Bonanza. Basically, I can list you every TV show that's been in existence. Have I driven that point home yet?
No.
All right, I can list more. Touched by an Angel, The Sopranos,
No, we're good.
Oh, okay. So we thought we'd go through some of the more memorable Christmas episodes. So let's give a baseline here. I know for Sam, and I'm in agreement with him on this, one of the like, and I'm sticking with what I said last cast, unless we can figure out a better term for it, gushiest Christmas episodes is season 1 of Scrubs, where the lady gets pregnant and is a virgin pregnancy or something like that.
It's essentially a recreation of the birth of Jesus for this.
Girl's just lying. Just so you guys know.
No. That's assumed. It's never actually said that she's lying in the show.
Scrubs prides itself on being scientifically and medically accurate. That girl's lying.
But give him more like detailed example, because I know like you're saying like this one bothers you a lot. So
no, it's just there's a teetering point where something becomes, oh, that's great, you know, the holidays kind of remind us of that we want to be our best selves and that we want to be close to the people you care about and to remember, the good things in life and what you should be appreciative of. And then there's episodes that are just like, fuck, that's not going to happen. That's not real. Girl doesn't get pregnant and then is in the emergency room and then everybody loses her in some way. This woman that's in labor hobbled herself to a park that she loves to go to and gave birth under a nativity scene, and all of the people found her and were able to help give her birth, which restored the faith and humanity of one of the guys who stopped going to church. Like, I don't feel good about that. Because it's not grounded enough in reality that it reminds me of maybe a time where I've been in a fight with a friend and we should have made up because friendship is more important, or, remembering to appreciate family members because they're gone and sometimes they pass away and you didn't have chances to say things you wanted to say, like real things. That wasn't a real thing. That was like, look at how magical the world is. Like that. Nah, that's not what it is. That's not what I'm looking for personally.
And then there are kind of just the ridiculous Christmas episodes where, I'm just going to put it out there, South Park for the first 8 years had great Christmas episodes.
With poop, I believe.
Starting with Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poo. And then eventually leading into, they had like a whole musical episode one time. Sometimes they always try and weave Hanukkah in there, because Kyle, of course, is Jewish. And then they had Red Sleigh Down, which is a great one, where it's basically they take the plot from Black Hawk Down, but Santa gets shot down over Iraq, and the kids have to come in and rescue him. But the one Christmas episode from South Park that stands out in my mind, and you can count it as magical, I definitely know it's not overbearing, but what it is disturbing, the Woodland Critter Christmas, where Stan has to give an abortion to a mountain lion, I believe. No, he kills the mother mountain lion, and then the baby mountain lions teach Stan how to give an abortion to Kyle, who is having the Antichrist, who is fathering or mothering, I guess if you want to put it that way, the Antichrist. Because all the woodland critters are Satan, and it's really just Cartman, and the entire episode is really just Cartman writing a Christmas story for the class.
And that's beautiful. So
that's an example of a beautiful one. I think the example of a classic one, especially for like our generation, would of course be Seinfeld, the episode The Strike.
Yep.
Which we really don't get anything Christmassy out of it, but it's where the legend of Festivus comes into play.
Well, it hits on Christmas. It hits on those Christmas notes that like, and some episodes aren't about making you feel good about things. Some episodes are about reminding you like
how good you have it.
No, family's a pain in the ass, and like, yes, people get into arguments with family members all the time. I love my brother to death. That doesn't mean we're not going to get argumentative and get into fights, especially when everybody's home for the holidays and people that you haven't been living with for like 5 days a week, you're in the same room with them for like 100+ hours. Like, yeah, fights are going to happen. Yeah. I mean, these people are obviously psychotic, but that's a reminder of. It. Like, there's all this crazy stuff going on, but your family's still there and you're still going to argue and you still love each other, and maybe that family doesn't love each other, but that's a damn good episode.
It's a possibility. Okay. Another example I wanted to give was there is a great Smallville episode. And
the greatest?
No, not the greatest. But it's, in my opinion, one of the greatest Christmas episodes. But it has a dark undertone that no one really thinks about. So the story A is basically kind of a mock It's a Wonderful Life for Lex Luthor. But at the end, he makes the wrong decision anyway and decides to go down a path that would not give him this magical life that he foresaw. Because he's in a coma state, so he's hallucinating it. But the B story is Clark goes and saves this drunken Santa from trying to commit suicide because the world is too much for him. And he saves this Santa, and at the very end, they do one of those like little nods where it's like, oh my God, you saved the real Santa. Which then has led to us to believe that Santa got so depressed because the world is so shitty.
He's going to kill himself.
That he was going to kill himself. I don't think they quite knew what they were doing with that one. Because it's one of those like, oh my God. Oh my God. That went dark quick. I'm sorry for that.
Wow. Okay.
But the main one I want to hit on, and this to me is the most classic Christmas episode ever, The original Simpsons episode, Simpsons roasting on an open fire. The very first episode ever of The Simpsons is a Christmas episode where they find Santa's little helper.
Really?
Yes. So Homer's kind of rushing around, trying to make money last minute for Christmas, and he's being a mall Santa. He's like doing all these little other loose end jobs.
Is that back when he was a good dad, like every once in a while?
I mean, it was the first episode, so sure. And at the last minute, he tries to like get enough money for Christmas by going to a dog track and betting on the dog. The dog they bet on is Santa's little helper, and the dog loses. And I think the guy's like going to go shoot the dog or something. I don't quite remember, but it's like clear that like this dog is done. Like, we don't want this dog around. And Bart kind of like convinces him to take him home and adopt him.
And that's how they get their dog?
And that's how they get Santa's little helper, correct.
And that's
Wow.
perfect because it's just enough magic. That's the thing you're looking for. You want just enough to make it plausible. The rest of the episode is tough. I mean, as it's Simpsons, but as much as you can relate for, like, it's a guy that's working hard, that's trying to make the best by his kids before he turns into the true Homer Simpson that tries to kill his kid. Trying to do the best he can.
There might have been strangling in that episode. I don't remember.
The classic, like, road to evil's paved with good intentions, like, bets on a racetrack so that he can make more money so that he can get his kids everything that they want, everything that they deserve. And then he loses it all, and you happen to stumble upon this magic moment that ends up making everybody happy anyway. It's just a little bit of magic. That's all you need, not a miraculous, amazing story that seems completely implausible.
Another one that was brought to my attention by some people earlier today when I was doing research for this, but I've never watched this, so I'm going to turn to you, Sam, because I know you watch Community.
Yeah. Which one?
That's the thing. I was going through, and they're
Maybe
like,
that's
"There's
really good Christmas episodes."
They do a really good one. There's one that they do that's like an animated one that I wasn't a huge fan of. But the best one that I liked, I can't remember what it's called. Let me see if maybe it's on a list that I'm like, yeah, Comparative Religion. It's an episode where, because they have a Jewish girl, they have a really Christian older woman, and she just wishes, there gets into like an argument where Jeff, the lead, played by
Joel McHale.
Joel McHale from The Soup, is going to get into a fight with this guy, and she tries to push that, hey, for Christmas for me, you should just be a pacifist and do the right thing. And there's like a constant back and forth between which religion is the best and which religion is the right way to behave. So they're all like trying to be the best person. And then at the end, the Christian woman sees that this guy keeps shitting on Joel. And then she eventually is just like, nope, I'm beating this dude's ass. And just like hits this guy or like tells him to go ahead and beat him up. Just realizing that it's not about trying to prove who's the best. It's, again, about being with those close to you. So not a lot of hip, hip, hooray, but just like a straightforward, good, tender moment at the end of an episode.
So what makes for the best type of Christmas episode? Is it family? Is it friends? Because I think we were on the consensus that, like my own personal Jesus, which was the Scrubs episode, is too much. When you try and throw too many Christmas things into one, it becomes a little too gushy. I'm sticking with it. And then when you keep it simple, it's the best. So what are the proper ingredients for a good Christmas episode?
I feel like for me personally, like, it is kind of what that whole Community episode was about, where it's like less trying to focus on which religion's, like, I guess, origin story, you know, of Christmas is more correct or more accurate, and just like then focusing on, like, you know, it's more about celebrating it with people you love, regardless of how you celebrate it. It's just like being with your family, being with your friends, being able to celebrate that with somebody and share that joy with someone else.
It's the last part that you said that I agree with, like in these TV, in these shows and in everything. And it's most powerful episodes that are still pretty moving happen when it's somebody that's not a key player in the show gets involved. Because you love that idea that everyone, regardless of who you are, around the holiday season gets more warmth from other people than they normally would. That's a very important thing. So I think it doesn't matter if it's friends or family or whatever it is, but as long as somebody is being treated better than they normally would be. That's what you're kind of looking for. Or on the opposite end of the spectrum, like Seinfeld or the Office episode of Christmas Party, where they just do like Yankee swap, where they're just like swapping gifts and everybody just starts to get really fickle. Something that you can relate to that has a charming ending. That's what you're looking for.
So that kind of that kind of sweet spot is what we're saying.
Yeah, you said something that warms your heart at the end of the episode. Like that's all it takes.
Do you think they should imply other stories into it, like It's a Wonderful Life type deal, Christmas Carol?
Yeah, I like those. I have no problem with that. One thing I don't like is every time there's a goddamn real Santa. It's like,
yeah,
that homeless man, or this fucking Smallville again, that homeless man winks at the camera at the end and jettisons off. It's like, no, this show has been grounded in reality the entire duration until just this one episode means the whole thing's a wash.
So keep it simple, but definitely don't keep like the sleigh bells jingle at the end and that guy was actually so no real Santa, but keep it shindig.
But was it? I think maybe, I can't remember, but maybe it's just the type of the show that New Girl is. I think they may have done that before. They're like, is that Santa? It's like, no, that is not. It's just a guy. Something along those lines I thoroughly enjoy.
Or that Santa might be a old
homeless
drunk guy.
Merry Night, pa-rum-pa-bum-bum. The ox and lamb get tied, pa-rum-pa-bum-bum. We play a drum for him, pa-rum-pa-bum-bum. We play our best for him.
As usual, we end every episode with What's Piquing Your Interest, where we just say what's piquing our interest. Garrett, what's piquing your Christmas interest? Doesn't have to be Christmas. Yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Good. I've
Because
got a
mine
couple.
is definitely not Christmas.
I've got a couple things, but I'm just gonna stick with the one. Man, I watched John Wick yesterday.
Are you now a believer in the greatness that is Keanu Reeves?
God. That movie was so good. It was so good. I just from like even before it started getting all action, I was like, man, this is kind of like one of those artsy movies that I could see Keanu Reeves doing. You know, that would actually be good. It's not gonna be like a low grade film festival movie. It's like it's gonna be one of those
He's
ones.
done a lot of those lately.
And he has. But like it's gonna be one of those ones that like gets a lot of recognition because it's actually good.
Mid-range budget movies seem to be trending right now.
But
over the last few years,
because they make a profit.
Yeah, but it's not just horror movies. But it also seems like actors are a little more willing to get. It's like this kind of awkward tie between we're getting this. If you remember from either 2 weeks ago, I was talking about how video games are either getting your AAA titles or your indie games. Like we're starting to see this middle ground of we're not getting just indie movies that someone decided to do as a passion project or a AAA big budget thing. We're starting to see these kind of mid-range movies starting to come in.
And like, if I hadn't known what John Wick was going into it, like I would have been like, oh, this is going to be like some sort of like interesting drama action movie. But like once it started going, I was like, man, Keanu Reeves, it's good to have you back. Like Sam and I were talking about this before you got home, but like the scene where the dad's like getting onto Vito, the son. It's like he's like, I just killed his dog and stole his car. It doesn't matter. And he's like, it doesn't matter what you did. It's who you did it to. You fucked over the wrong person. And
I believe it's Boris the Blade who's doing that too.
Oh yeah, and it's like either you fix this or we're all fucked. Like.
He knows his son is going to die.
And what's sad is that ruined it for me because that dude from then on, even when I tried to go back and watch Game of Thrones, I'm like, that's just the dude from John Wick.
Yeah.
I was like, it's just John Wick, dude.
No, and because like Hannah was watching it with me, and whenever the son or whoever calls the dad for the first time and is like, hey, this happened, he's just like, well, what happened? He's like, well, he killed somebody's dog and stole their car. And it's like, okay, what does that matter? It was John Wick. Oh. Okay. And that just set the tone of the whole movie. It's like, this guy's going to be a badass. He's going to, even if I didn't know he was going to kill a bunch of people, he's going to kill a bunch of people.
You realized who the son was, right?
Yeah.
Theon?
Yeah.
Greyjoy? Okay, just checking. From Game of
Oh, I know.
Thrones.
I noticed it as soon as I saw him on screen. I was like, I
Can't
know who
miss
that
that
is.
face, yeah.
But it was just like, man, he fucked up. The movie was wonderful, though. I was talking with Sam, like, despite, like, minimal dialogue and, like...
There's enough dialogue.
Exactly. There was enough dialogue, and just, it was so refreshing to watch Keanu Reeves in a movie like that again. And it was just like, I'm totally on board for number 2. I want to see more of this. Give me more.
That hotel.
So.
That hotel is great. Sam, I feel bad. I will go because I stole your peeking earlier in the episode. So what's piquing my interest is while I was sitting in the theater for our office Christmas party, a trailer, which I said I was refusing to watch, but since I wasn't going to leave the theater for 2.5 minutes out of principle, came on.
Rogue One?
No.
Oh.
No, I didn't get a Rogue One. Did you get a Rogue One?
I did.
I didn't get a Rogue One.
I didn't get one.
I got 50 Shades of Darker.
Oh, I got that too.
So here's why this is piquing my interest. Number one, I have no clue what this series is about other than just BDSM.
Yeah,
sex.
That's what it's about.
However, this film made it seem like there were two antagonists at least trying to like
win over Our Lady,
screw up these people's love life that no one cares about, or I have no clue why they broke up. But
oh yeah, dude, like,
did you notice who the male antagonist was?
No.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Whitney Fordham.
I don't know.
Eric Johnson from Smallville season 1.
Nice.
Who would always beat up. I'm like, yeah, no.
Nice. Oh, dude, do you have any idea how deep these book series go?
Is this anything like Girl Kicks a Hornet's Nest? Like, does it go that deep to where...
Yeah, I don't know how deep that goes, but no, it turns into something like, so she breaks up with him because she wants to be her own woman now. Like, she realizes that this is his crutch and that she's not a part of this.
Oh, you said crutch. Sorry.
Yeah.
Continue.
This is his crotch.
And then so she starts her own life, but he kind of wants to change. But the reason that he is this way is because he has like a weird relationship with his mother. And there's also another woman that like wanted to fix him a long time ago who like maybe is trying to murder her. And it turns into this whole like intrigue psychological thriller thing that eventually boils over just into what I can only assume based on the Wikipedia that I read of these books.
So you didn't go through and read the story?
No. I Wikipedia'd them, though.
That's what I'm saying. But you read
no, it essentially I believe the end essentially turns into a Departed kind of scenario where everybody just starts killing everybody. Or like, trying to kill everyone.
The end of the third book?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Ugh. And eventually it becomes true love. Like, he's like, I don't need to beat you with a stick anymore. I love you for you. Or whatever it is that they do.
Replace that $50 million penthouse with a trailer, and this is in a completely different story.
Correct, but money helps.
Jesus.
So that's what's piquing my interest. Sam?
Let's see what the first thing is I pull up on the internet. I was ingrained in 50 Shades of Sex.
You're not wrong.
Did you like how they played just a different Beyonce track slow this time?
It's the same song.
Is it?
It's the same song.
Was the first one Crazy in Love again?
It's just a different cover.
Didn't realize that.
Sexy.
So
I can't.
So Crazy in Love.
What's piqued my interest is that I can't wait to talk about Matt Damon takes aim in a wicked new international poster. Nope, not that.
If you know what's piquing Sam's interest, there's many different ways you can tell us and contact us to do so. You can email us at threewiseradio@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter at threewiseradio / #threewiseradio. Find us on Instagram at threewiseradio or on Facebook at threewisemedia. Our sister podcast is Movie Versus, which comes out every Thursday. And next week, we will be doing it's now going to be annual, as much as it pains me to say that, Star Wars episode on Rogue One. I still have high hopes for Rogue One. It's when we're doing this in 3 years, and it's like the Han Solo story. I'm going to be like...
It's getting great reviews, and apparently
Really?
there are many twists that are not to be expected.
Rogue One.
Yeah.
I was scared you're talking about the Han Solo
No,
story.
Rogue One. Which I'm not looking... I was talking to Garrett about earlier, which I'm not looking forward to, because I feel like one of the twists is just going to be like, this guy is this guy's dad. You're like, oh, who cares?
More on that next week.
Three Wise Radio is a production of Three Wise Media. more information, check us out on Facebook.